This is the Two Goal Lead podcast presented by BCHL Network. My name is Brian Wiebe. I'm the owner and editor-in-chief of BCHLnetwork.ca, and very proud to say that this podcast has partnered with the BCIT Radio Arts and Entertainment program. It just so happens that that's the program that I teach into at the BC Institute of Technology. But when it comes to radio arts and entertainment at BCIT, we know content creation continues to explode as viewers, listeners, readers are looking for compelling content every single day. At the BCIT Radio Arts and Entertainment program, you'll learn how to create entertaining, engaging, and informative content by honing your storytelling, performance, and production skills. Students in the program are exposed to the latest technology, innovative practice-based experiences, and provided with a range of resources. Students learn the skills needed to create content for multiple platforms during the 2-year full-time diploma program, including social media, live streaming services, podcasts like this one, video sharing channels, websites, as well as radio and TV. If you'd like some more information about the program, head on over to bcit.ca/radio. All right, let's dive into this week's episode of the Two Goal Lead podcast presented by BCHL Network. Really excited to chat with a person whose team is in the throes of a playoff series at the time of this recording against the Vernon Vipers. He is Brooks Christensen. He is the operations manager and general manager of the Salmon Arm Silverbacks. Brooks, thanks very much for taking the time to join us here on the Two Goal Lead podcast presented by BCHL Network.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Brian.
So overall, how would you assess how the season has gone for Salmon Arm since the start of the year through to that first round win against Prince George?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're extremely happy with, the outcome that we're where we at right now. We've probably had some growing pains during the year. We went through some major injuries early on that definitely, I would say, stalled our success in the standings. But happy with how our teams kind of found our game here going into playoffs and having success, obviously, in the first round and so far in the second. We're pretty happy with how we're playing.
Now, according to the BCHL website, your team is one of the ones that has the most commitments to NCAA Division I schools. According to the list, there's 8 of them heading to college this fall, which means you've got a healthy number coming back next season. Where do you think that having that number of returnees of committed players puts your team in terms of its competitive cycle?
Yeah, I think looking across the league, I think we're a younger team. And so getting a lot of those guys back next year is going to be extremely important for the success, not only for this year and the experience they're getting, but for what they're going to bring next year. I mean, we lost a lot of firing power and a lot of depth in our team for this year that we moved on last year. And so a lot of guys that didn't necessarily get the opportunity last season are now getting those roles this year. And so I think it's just a development curve and seeing the success of guys like Owen Beckner and Nathan Mackey, who really didn't play a massive role last year, being younger guys on our team, of now being able to get put into those positions. I think they've done a great job, and obviously excited to see what they do next year as well.
So does that raise the expectations going into next season that you're hoping that you're competing for top spot in that interior conference?
Yeah, I mean, that's our goal. I mean, when Tyler and I took over this program here a couple of years ago, it was something for us. We really wanted to see, a change in culture and a change in obviously success. Our ownership's done a great job of supporting us and giving us, every resource that we need here. So, we're looking to continue to raise the bar every year. I think last year we made a huge statement of, finishing second in the league. That's something that our organization hadn't done for several years. So to have that success and then obviously winning first round and getting knocked out in second round, you want to take that step. And so this year, our goal is to continue on in playoffs here and hope to have success against Vernon. And it's been a good series so far and just looking to continue it on.
You picked up goaltender Matthew Tovel in a trade from Hawkesbury of the Central Canada Hockey League last August. How would you describe the impact he's had on your club this season?
Oh, it's been drastic. It's been a drastic impact for us. I mean, with us losing our starter there last year with Owen Say, who was tremendous for us for 2 years. We really felt we needed to find a starter this year, and Tovs has done a great job at that. He's exceeded my expectations of really, the unknown when you bring a guy out from out east, and he's been a perfect fit, and just really happy with his performance all around. Happy that he got his deal done to York and is going to continue on his education after this season, and just really happy with how it's all come together.
You brought up forward Owen Beckner as one of the improved players for your team this season. He's the 86th ranked North American skater by NHL Central Scouting for this year's draft. What's impressed you the most about Owen's development this season?
I think just the willingness to continue to learn. Like even last year, when he came in, he was in and out of the lineup the first half of the season. He was really, was working on his game, went through some, I would call them hurdles of just, trying to find his 200-foot game. And this year, right from the start, the offensive side came to him. I definitely respect where he's come on the 200-foot side of his game. His compete level has continued to up every single game, and just really happy with where he's come from the start of last year to now.
There's always a lot of talk about how tough the Interior Conference is in the BC Hockey League in terms of quality of teams. How much of a battle was that conference this season, considering that when you look at the standings, there were only 3 points ended up separating third from seventh?
Yeah, I think in my 8 years with this organization, this is definitely by far been the toughest year. I mean, you just said it, the third to seventh rankings there, like, any team could be in any position there. I think it just, anybody could win on any given night. And it just goes to show, what teams are doing and organizations are doing in this division. And for me, it's exciting because every game feels like a playoff game when you're playing an opponent in our division. And it just sets our players up for success of going on to that next level, having that rivalry and knowing how important each game is.
There was a lot of improvement from within among your forwards this season. We talked about Beckner, but also Nathan Mackey, Ethan Ulrich, Isaac Lambert, all made big jumps offensively for your team this year. What do you attribute their development over the last season compared to last year? What can you attribute it to?
Yeah, I think a big piece of it is probably them getting the opportunity to learn from guys like Noah Serdachny and Simon Tassi last year. I mean, those two guys definitely, I would say, drove the bus for us in our organization last year, and just seeing how they operate and what they did on a daily basis and honing their crafts in any type of, whether it's offensive abilities, penalty kill, everything like that. So for us this year, like our lineup's definitely being a lineup of depth, and really, when we have success, it's having three lines that can score, and all those guys you just mentioned play such a key role, and whether it's on our power play, whether it's 5-on-5 or penalty kill. So I would definitely say that just the learning curve that they learned last year and learning the league has definitely been a big piece of it.
Now, given what you've got eligible to return next season in terms of those college committed players, is there an area of your roster that you've pinpointed at this point to upgrade in your recruiting or via trade this offseason?
Yeah, I think it's always something that you can't ever sit still. You need to make sure you're adapting, and obviously seeing what other teams are doing in our division and in the league. It's a competitive market with not having a draft and being straight recruiting. You're always working, you're always networking, you're always having a call with somebody. So for us, we feel really happy with and confident in the young guys that we've signed to date, and feel that we'll get through this season to know who's going on officially to the NCAA and who we might get back for another year with everything going on between the portal and fifth years and everything. So it's definitely a moving scale. We don't ever see it just sitting still. And that's for Tyler and I, it's just making sure that we continue to stay on top of it in any recruit that we're in conversations with.
For you personally, what was the biggest adjustment for having moved from assistant coach to marketing director and now into the operations manager and general manager roles? And as you mentioned, all of that in just around 8 seasons.
Yeah, I think for me, I was blessed with an opportunity very early that Brandon West and Troy Mick had given me to get involved in the organization and learn from a lot of great hockey minds over those years. And the assistant coach side of things was never my passion. I always enjoyed the business side. So when I got the opportunity to switch to the business side, I wanted to learn as much information as I possibly could. And then when given the opportunity to take over as the operations manager and general manager, for me, it was something I really wanted to bring something here that we haven't done in years. I mean, I grew up in Salmon Arm and got to see the early days when Gary Davidson owned the team and operated it, and loved the atmosphere, the energy, and everything that it brought to the community in Salmon Arm. And that was something that was a big passion for me. So I've really just kind of stuck to that we wanted to bring it back to the we call it the good old days here of, the first 2-3 years that the team was in Salmon Arm. And these last 2 playoff games at home, I definitely think we've accomplished a goal there that we had, and definitely there's still room to continue to grow it. And it's been definitely a group effort from our coaching staff to our business staff, to our ownership. Everybody's bought in, and can't thank them enough for the help and support.
I hate to make you feel really old here, but given that you were 11 years old when the Silverbacks joined the BCHL, what memories do you have of some of those early Salmon Arm teams?
Oh, it's definitely something that ignited my hockey passion. I mean, my family, when we were younger, my parents never played hockey, so it was something that was new to us. And when the team came here and got involved, I was fortunate enough to be a stick boy. I think I was 12 years old when I was a stick boy for the team. And when given that opportunity, it was just neat to be around and just to be consumed by that hockey environment. And it's definitely stuck with my family since. And we were a billet family for a couple of years, so definitely ingrained it of just, seeing how, they operated at a younger age, and everything from the success of the team to and entertainment. The games against the Vipers back then was always an exciting one. So it's definitely a memory that I cherish in my childhood for sure.
Who were some of the former Silverbacks players that stand out to you from those days?
Yeah, I mean, there's a long list. There was so many good players that came through in there. I mean, Andrew Ebbett was one, obviously, early on, and just to see his success, him and I, we've exchanged, whether it's text messages or messages in general over the years here, in his success. We had a billet, a Cam McIntyre, who was traded at the deadline a year, and he was just a phenomenal role model for me, and just seeing how he operated, and just, obviously getting to live with him and see the success he had going on to Princeton University. We followed on. We actually went for a family vacation there. So he's definitely one that I took a lot of info and feedback from. And Matt Dick, to me, is one guy that when I think of the Silverbacks, then there's obviously guys like Alex Nikiforuk and Brady Murray and guys like that. But what Matt Dick did his year to score 50 goals and just the excitement in that year with those guys is definitely guys that I really value and have kept in touch. There's been a lot of guys that through the area and for myself being involved in Salmon Arm, I've gotten a lot of opportunity to keep in touch. Adrian Wiedemann is another guy that we've kept in touch. Ryan Duncan, who, those guys just advocate for our organization so much. Jay Burney, there's just so many. The list could go on and on.
So you mentioned growing up in Salmon Arm, your head coach, Tyler Shattuck, also from Salmon Arm. How important is it to Silverbacks ownership to have people from the local community in positions like that? Yeah,
I think that's something that we've definitely talked a lot over the years of how important the community of Salmon Arm is to us. And I would say it's a very unique situation with Tyler and I both being from Salmon Arm and obviously having the opportunity that we do with the organization. Tyler and I were the same age. We grew up together. We went to high school together, played minor hockey together and lived down the street from each other. So it's definitely a cool story, I guess, is how we look at it. And, I think from our ownership's just done a great job of, even though they're all from Calgary and the Alberta area, that they wanted the community engagement. And I think that was a big part when I came on of something that we really wanted to connect the community back to the team. And I think that's a good starting point from it.
You played Junior B for 4 seasons in the Kootenay International Junior Hockey League. How did being a veteran junior hockey player impact you sort of being able to relate to players now that you're on the other side of the table in management?
Yeah, I think it's something to just try to, when I was an assistant coach, I really just try to take pieces of the game that I enjoyed and that I had passion for and try to, relate to guys at that young. I mean, I think 22 years old when I got involved with the team. I was kind of just fresh out a year or two after playing. And, that my first year was really just trying to be a resource to guys. I mean, we had, Hutchison and we had Taro Hiroshi. We had a bunch of guys that were older that I could relate to and try to work with them. So for me, it's just always been something I wanted to give back to the game in some shape or form, and never saw myself completely shifting over to the hockey world. And I've been extremely grateful for what it's given me. And obviously my junior time and the experiences being able to help me gauge and be able to work on it, and being very grateful for the opportunity.
So what has motivated you throughout your hockey/business journey?
I would say just wanting to bring it's easy to say that I want to continue on and move up the ranks and have a long hockey career in management. But for me, it's been something that, Tyler and I have talked a lot about is we want to bring a championship to Salmon Arm. It's something that hasn't been done before and something that we feel that the community deserves. I mean, the support that we've been given has just been phenomenal this year. And so I really want to just, that's probably what motivates every day, is wanting to have team success, obviously moving guys on to the next level, and seeing the success of those players, and, knowing that you've had some kind of involvement with their development and helping and being a resource for them. It's definitely something that motivates. For me, when I got into this position, I never thought of the bigger picture, what's going to, move on from there. I really wanted to just do what I possibly could to be the best in this position, and feel that we've come a long way, and there's always still room to grow and learn. And having good mentors around, like, a guy like Gary Davidson is something that I really value, because they've had such a phenomenal hockey career in not only hockey, but in management as well. And something that I definitely value, and just kind of continue to learn from them.
So overall, what's your vision for the Salmon Arm Silverbacks franchise?
Well, I think it's easy to say, to get back to the old days of, the sellouts that we had and the support we had there. I mean, the team's success, obviously, of bringing a championship is something it's extremely important to us. And, but also, developing good young players. So, we've done a lot in the community to grow it, and obviously making sure that we continue to build off every year and don't just stick to the status quo. And if we can continue to do that, I think that, not only my job's done, but our coaching staff's job's done, and so on down the line. So it's definitely something that we take a lot of pride in making sure that we're doing the best we can to be one of the key mark organizations in this great league that we have.
So one last question for you, Brooks. What are some of the strengths of the Silverbacks organization that people might not know about?
Our ownership. I think, to me, that's one of the biggest things that definitely goes unnoticed. They're not involved on a daily basis of being obviously in town and around, but the support that they've given us over these years, the resources that they've given us, is something that from a recruiting standpoint to obviously in our facility and so on, it's something that I know that I wouldn't have had the success to this point in being in this role if I didn't have their support and their resources. And I mean, they've not only put a lot of money into it, but a lot of trust in Tyler and I, being two young guys in the hockey world and getting started. And I can't thank them enough for everything that they've done for not only the Silverbacks organization, but the community as a whole.
Well, and I can't thank you enough for joining us here on the 2 Goal Lead podcast presented by BCHL Network. General Manager and Operations Manager for the Salmon Arm Silverbacks, Brooks Christensen. Thanks again, Brooks, for doing this.
Thank you, Brian.
Definitely does look like a bright future for the Salmon Arm Silverbacks with a guy like Brooks Christensen in charge there as the general manager and operations manager. Thank you so much for tuning in. That will wrap things up here for episode number 13 of the 2 Goal Lead podcast presented by BCHL Network. As always, if you're interested in joining BCHL Network, looking to get some experience in sports media, if you're really excited about online writing and really excited about the BC Hockey League and potentially covering it for a website like bchlnetwork.ca. We do have a menu item on the website, says join our team. You click on that and up pops a page that gives you all of the reasons why you might want to join BCHL Network, and then also the requirements too. So if you are thinking of joining, make sure you look at the requirements. You need to look at publishing well-researched, detail-oriented articles, plus 2 of them, minimum 500 words every single calendar month. 2 articles a month, not too bad. And then, of course, social media accounts for sharing your work as well, plus the work of the team at bchlnetwork.ca. You fill that thing out. It's got your name, email, city that you live in, and a little brief explanation on why you might want to join BCHL Network. And then it will send that email directly to me, and I'll have a look at it and I'll get back to you right away. So we've had some wonderful writers get their start at BCHL Network, including Nation Network editor David Quadrelli, and also a member of Canucks Army as well, and a host of Canucks Conversation podcast. So David, just one of many people who have risen up the ranks in sports media who got their start at BCHL Network. All right, that will do it for us. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to look for the podcast, you're listening here on the BCHL Network website at bchlnetwork.ca. You can also like and subscribe at Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Audible, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Spotify, and Stitcher, depending on where you're listening. All right, thank you again so much. Episode number 14 is coming your way, and it will feature a member of the Trail Smoke Eaters. Oh, pardon me. No, before we get to Trail, it'll feature a member of the Surrey Eagles as we go alphabetically through all 18 teams here in the BCHL. Definitely hope that you'll join us for that episode 14 with a member of the Surrey Eagles. And until then, take care.